This conference will now be recorded.
Yes. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Any questions before I get started? Anything that you're trying? Anything that you're probably not getting? Any questions? Anyone? Anything? Any questions that I can take? So we're mostly looking at deleting resource groups, creating multiple resource groups, and etc. Yes. Okay. Okay. No, it shouldn't be like that. When he's logging, is he logging into your tenant? Is he able to see your tenant ID? Are you sure about that? You just tell me, just show me who's the user and how is it, and then I can. Yes, please do email me with the screenshot so that I can help you out. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. Sure. Just show me. I'll help you out with that. Yes. Any more questions, here, guys? Okay. Regarding SAS. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That is the access level, not SAS. That's the access level. Yes. Good. Container or access. Yes. Nothing really much. When you give someone a container level access, they'll be able to read the properties of the container. That's it. If you give someone that access, they'll be able to go ahead look at something called metadata, properties of the container, and all these things. Yes. Anyone? Any more questions here? So yesterday we were pretty much looking into a particular PowerShell script, wherein we were going ahead and we were telling that okay, fine, there are about 4 or 5 resource groups. Let's put them into the array. Let's use a for loop, and then we went ahead and created all those resource groups out there. Now, see your requirements that the client comes up with, right? Now, when you are working on a PowerShell script, there would be a client or there would be, let's say, your project manager who's coming to you, and they would come with a specific requirement. Let's say I have a requirement today. Is that the client is telling me that you know what the requirement of the script is this. A script should be reusable, and B here is that I should be allowed to declare the name of the resource group, which means that if I write a script and give it to you, you are my client, I'm giving it to you. The very first thing that the script should do is that it should tell you, okay, fine, can you give me a name of a resource group? It shouldn't create a resource group of its own. It should rather ask you for the resource group that you want to create. Let's say this is the first requirement. Second thing, when I'm saying script is reusable or script should be reusable, the script should do something like this. As the script executes, it should first check if the name of the resource group that you have entered is that already existing on the portal or not. Okay, so the script should check if the name of the RG is existing on the portal. If it doesn't exist, you should simply go ahead and create a new one. So create a new one. Yes, sorry, doesn't exist. Yes, doesn't exist. Yes, please go ahead and create a new one. If it already exists, then simply say that it exists. Please enter a new name. Please enter a new name and try again. So script being reusable. So couple of conditions here. Firstly, script should be reusable, which means that every time when I run the script, it should help me create a new resource group, or it should just check whether that particular resource group exists or not. This is something that which will help your client. Second thing, the script shouldn't just go ahead and create some random resource group like demo and demo to know. It should just create what I want it to be, let's say what I want it to be created at that particular point in time, and then the check here telling that okay fine, if this exists, or if the, let's say, resource group already exists on the portal, the script should simply say that you know what, it already exists, so I won't create it. Please try with a new name. If it doesn't, the script should simply tell that okay fine, you know what, the resource group doesn't exist. I will go ahead and create a new one for you, and it should go ahead and create a new resource group for us out here as such. I'm sorry. Uh, if you have a duplicate name, it will fail. It will fail, but I don't want it to fail. I want it to tell that the name already exists. That's being reusability. If the script fails, right, your client who is not understanding all these language will just simply say that you know what, the script is not working, but you know what is the issue. So that's the reason we will have to provision such a kind of a thing out here. So the very first thing, let's see, I should be able to pass a name. I as in I as a client should be, or the client should be able to pass that particular name out here. Fine. So let's see, what does write host do, guys? What do you think write host do? It writes an output onto your host, which is nothing but PowerShell. For example, I will write something telling that starting the script. So I'm writing something like this, and if I give a foreground color here, change the color to yellow or something like that, the output is going to change. So it's going to come something like this telling that starting the script and etc. So that is write host, wherein it is writing on this particular host terminal. I will now go ahead and write one more statement called read hyphen host. Write will go ahead and give you the output. Read hyphen host will take an input from you. So writing the output, taking the input. For example, I will say enter the name of RG. Yes, so now if I go ahead, execute this again, it can be anything. I'll say, what's your name? I execute this, only just this line. It will wait here, asking what is your name out here. Okay. Let's say you say something like Kiran. It'll just simply display the name back. If you're not doing anything, it'll just simply display the name back. So instead of doing what's your name, I'll say enter the name of RG. I'll tell, okay, fine, please go ahead and enter the name of the RG out here, which means if I go ahead and execute this out, now we'll get, let's say it'll wait here. It'll ask your client to enter the name of the RG. Let's say I'll say something like demo RG. So it will print back that particular statement called demo RG out here. But my intention is just not to print this. My intention is to check whether that particular resource group with that particular name exists or not. So what I'll do is whatever input that you are providing, I will store it into a parameter. Let's say again, how do you declare a parameter in PowerShell? What is the parameter declaration in PowerShell? Sorry? No, what is the parameter declaration in PowerShell? How do you declare a parameter in PowerShell? Dollar? Anything? You say dollar, the name. Or in order to be very precise, I'll say RG name. I will say equal to, and who is entering the RG name? The client is entering the RG name. Where is he entering the RG name? When the read host statement is running. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this out and paste it here. I'm telling $RG name is equal to read host, enter the name of the RG. So please enter the name of the RG out here. So if I run this, what will happen is this. It's first asking enter the name of the RG. I'll say demo RG. I'll say enter. It's not printing anything out right now. It's saving the value called demo RG inside the parameter called RG name. So now if you go ahead and execute the RG name, it will give you something called demo RG. For saving anything, you just go ahead say RG name is equal to something. So now I will just go ahead re-execute this once again, and now if I say ABC something like this RG name value will be equal to ABC. So whatever you give in your read host, it will take that as the input and save it inside that particular parameter called RG name out here as such. Okay, so the first condition where the client should be able to pass the name, this is getting satisfied. So I'm able to, as if I run a script. So let me save this, and let's say this is RG creation. So if I run this, the very first thing it's coming is that starting the script from the right host statement. Second thing is coming this one. So now I'll say it is demo. I'm able to enter the name. I as a client I'm able to enter the name. So the first condition is satisfied. Secondly, what should we do? Check if the name of the resource group exists on the portal. How do you check something in the Azure portal? Get. Exactly. You have to do something called get. And what do you need to get? Hyphen. I'll say AZ resource group. I'll say hyphen. And just wait for this one. Not equal to, but I'll just say hyphen name. And I will say check for that particular name which the client has entered. Client is entering a name. That particular name should be checked by your script. And what do you put here? What should be the name here? $RG name. Exactly. $RG name. Because dollar RG name is what basically is holding your resource groups out here. Let's do this. Let's save this and rerun this once again. Now it's telling starting the script. Enter the name of the RG. I'll say demo. I'll say enter. And let's see. As in when I did this, it's telling provided resource group does not exist. Now everything that you see in red is an error. This is an error in PowerShell. And what does the error tell you? Does not exist. So if you go to the portal, it really does not exist out here. If it did exist, let's say I put something called demo. So if I now just go ahead run this out once again, fine, I'll run this out once again. I'll say demo. If it did exist, it won't throw you an error. Rather, it will show you the properties of the existing resource group like the name, location, provisioning state, and the resource ID. So it's going to return a value if a resource group is there. So this is my condition, which is now telling that if the resource group is not there, let's go ahead delete this out. I don't need this right now. So the point here that I'm trying to emphasize is that, or the point here I'm trying to stress on is this, is that this command is going to give you an error if the resource group is not there. It's going to give you, let's say, the details of the resource group if something exists out here. So, but again, see, the intention here is to not throw an error because your client won't understand. I know that the error is coming because the resource group is not there. And sometimes what happens is that when PowerShell throws the error, PowerShell script will stop at that particular line because the default error action of PowerShell is to stop. Meaning whenever there's an error, PowerShell will go ahead and say, you know what, I got the error, I'll stop right now. But I don't want that to happen. So what I'll do is after name, telling RG name out here, I'll say hyphen. I'll add one more parameter here or one more argument here called error action. What do you do if this command gives you the error? That's what I'm telling this particular script. I'll say silently continue because I know that there will become an error if the research group is not there. But if it's not there, I'll take care of it. You don't throw an error. So now if you just go and execute this out, I'll say this is RG, which is not there in my portal. Enter, not giving you the error and also not giving you the details, which means that this command now will return a null value if the resource group does not exist, and it will return you the properties if the resource group exists. This is what it happens. Now what I'll do is I'll take one more parameter. I will say dollar status. I'll say equal to, I'll take this entire line, whatever is the output that is coming from this line. Again, this line is going to give me a null value output if the resource group is not there, is not there. It's going to give me some value, like which means the properties and all these things, if RG exists. Agreed, we're all good with this condition. It gives you a value if the resource group exists. If it is not, it'll give you a null value, which means I can use this value as my condition, telling that if this value is equal to null, then I'll simply write RG doesn't exist, I'm creating one. Or else I would say, you know what, it will only be or else when there is a value inside this particular, let's say, parameter. Else I would say all RG already exists, please enter a new name. So now is the reason I'll open up something called as an if condition. I'll say if, again syntax here, open close parenthesis, open close brackets. In this parenthesis, we give a condition. I'll say if dollar status is equal to null. So I'll say equal to here is not, let's say something like this equal to, I'll say hyphen EQ. We said LT, EGT and all that stuff. Now I'll say hyphen EQ. I will say dollar null. Dollar null is a predefined variable in PowerShell. I did not declare this anywhere. Dollar null will just give you a null value. So now I'm telling if the status gives a dollar null value, then I'll say write host RG with the name dollar $RG name doesn't exist, creating a new one. And I'll just go ahead and say a new hyphen AZ resource group hyphen name. And what should be the name here again? Demo, or that's not in your control, right? RG name, dollar $RG name. Hyphen, I'll give some location out here. I think it is East US or something like this. And else. If is always followed by something called else. If that or this, any one condition can be satisfied. Else, and then you have open close brackets. Else can only be possible if dollar status is not equal to null. Is not equal to null. It is only possible when dollar status is not equal to null. So very first thing I'll check is that I'll check for the if condition. Is this getting satisfied? This will only get satisfied when your dollar status is equal to null. And when will your dollar status be equal to null? Only when there is no resource group. That's where I'm creating one. Else I would say right host dollar $rg name already exists on the Azure portal. Please pass a new name. So this is what I'm doing right now, wherein I'm saying I'm going to if, I'm going to else. So this is my program right now, end to end, wherein it's telling right host starting the script. Then it's going ahead and saying, okay, fine, RG name is equal to enter the name of the RG. Then you have status, and wherein I'm getting this particular name of the RG out here, with very importantly something called an error action parameter out here. After that, I'm telling if this particular status is equal to null, only then go ahead and create something else. Just tell that the resource group already exists. So I'll just save this and I'll just run this out once again. Now it's going ahead and asking me, okay, fine. Can you give me the name of the RG? I'll start telling demo. Saying RG with the name demo does not exist. Creating a new one. Created a new one right now. The idea of reusability is this. If my client again comes back a month later and says, okay, fine, I need a demo. What is it telling you? Demo already exists on the Azure portal. Please pass a new one. Right? This is how it goes ahead and does a reusability out here. Again, just go back to the portal and just come to the resource groups, refresh this out. I have a demo resource group that got created just now. I don't see the creation time for, but yes, the demo resource group that got created just now. And now if I execute something else, I'll say demo one. This demo one doesn't exist. Went ahead, created a new one for me. So you can now execute the script any number of times. The script has a lot of conditions, a lot of checks out here. Now the script basically is ready to go ahead and let's say, create any number of resource groups the way you wish to pass this out as such. So let's refresh the screen again. It will take some time to reflect that particular resource group. Now I have a demo one out here. So no matter how many things you create, it will go ahead and support your creation. And this is your end-to-end scripting, wherein you're checking whether that particular resource group exists or not. And only if the status is equal to null, you're creating something. Else you're just telling, okay, fine, you know what, the resource group already exists. Please pass a new one out here as such. Yes, any questions till here? Anyone, any questions till here? Anyone, any questions till here that I can take? Anyone online, offline, any questions that I can take till here? Are we comfortable with this? Yes, any questions till here?
Good morning, Kiran. Can we take the location, like any location we can take, whether it's
Yes,
east?
yes, you can take
Okay,
any location. Again, if you also want the client to have an ability to pass the location, you can say dollar location is equal to read host. Enter a location. And instead of you passing the location as ECUS2, you can simply take this out and say yes, exactly. You can say dollar location out here. This is how you can pass it out. So
perfect. Thanks.
I am replacing my script wherever I can, let's say, parameterize. I'll just parameterize my script out here.
Okay, thank you, Kiran.
No problem. Yes, any more questions here, guys?
Uh, yeah. Hello. Good morning. What
Good,
if
please.
client don't know the locations available?
I'm
Then
sorry,
what
can you
we
come
do?
again, please?
You said enter the location, right? What
Hmm.
if client don't know the all the locations available? Can
What
you
if,
just
sorry?
show me? Client don't know the
Hmm.
exact locations available.
Okay.
Can we write something like the options of showing the locations?
Yes, you can kind of write it out. You can say enter location, and you can say in the bracket you can say example east us to or something like that. You can say like east us to like west us or something like this. You can give it in the bracket, and then they can go ahead and, let's say, once you execute this, right, it's going to ask you something like this: east us or west us or something like that. Yes, it's just suggesting the client. Yes. Any more questions here?
Hi Kiran, this is Shiva here.
Good, please.
Yes, can we create bulk in bulk resource groups?
In bulk resource groups.
Yeah.
So the question here is that can I go ahead and allow the client to pass in multiple resource groups at a time? Like, if I want multiple things at a time, yes, you can also do that. But your script should support something called as an array list. This is a simple string. I need to tell my script that, what, please allow someone to, let's say, go ahead and pass multiple things like, let's say, an array. So an array declaration out here. Let's look at that. Let's look at that example wherein it's telling, or wherein the question here is that can I allow bulk creations? So let's look at this at a very, very, let's say, basic level. We'll see this. I will say instead of RG names, can I say dollar names? I can actually give anything out here, not a problem. I'll say read hyphen host, enter the names of the RG you want to create. Now, whenever you are declaring a parameter, without telling what is the data type of the parameter, PowerShell by defaults, or PowerShell by, let's say, default, takes this parameter as a string value. But I need to tell PowerShell that, what, this is not a string, this is an array. What I'll do, before I start my, let's say, parameter declaration, there is something called as typecasting, wherein I tell what is the data type of a parameter. If I want to declare this as a string, I'll put square brackets in front of it and say this is a string. Declaration as a string. If it's an integer number that I want to pass, I'll say int int. If it's an array that I want to declare, I'll say string, and inside the string again I'll say open and close brackets. This is the declaration of an array, which means now I, as a user, can now go ahead and pass in something like demo 2, demo 3, demo 4, and so on and so forth. And the dollar names right now, if I just go ahead and say dollar names, it has demo 2, demo 3, demo 4. Now, the question here is that can I now go ahead create multiple resource groups out of it? It won't create backend because you do not write the command. Yes, you do not write the command, for which you need to write a command. But before I write a command, let's see how a write host works out here. We'll see how a write host, because the basic command is a write host. If you see how a write host works, well, we can basically extend this out to, let's say, creation or whatever it is. So I'll say write hyphen host. I'll say name of the resource group is dollar names. If I execute this out, it's telling name of the RG is demo 2, demo 3, and demo 4. Are we good with this? Can I just go ahead, do a new hyphen AZ resource group? hyphen name. I'll say dollar names hyphen location. I'll say some location like central US. What is it telling you right now? What do you understand by this? Let's see. What is it telling you? Cannot convert. There is two things out here that you need to observe. It's telling cannot convert. Is it just a string? It's an array. This one is an array because string has, just beside to it, string has a double quotation out here, meaning a double bracket out here. It's telling I cannot convert this into a string which is expected by the parameter called name. Let's see. Let's go back into our documentation and say new hyphen az resource group. New hyphen az resource group expects a parameter called name whose data type is string. But what did we pass here? It's an array. So if I say dollar names dot get type the system dot array, I cannot pass an array for a command which expects a string. I cannot do that. It will fail. I'm passing an array for a command which expects a string. I need to pass each and every name, meaning one name at a time. There are three names. I need to pass one name at a time. What can I do here? For loop, for each loop, some kind of a looping iteration. So I'll say for each. Can I say for each dollar name in dollar names? And I can say, firstly, without creating it, let's write just the right for statement out here. Instead of names, I have to give it as name. Let's see right now. Let's go ahead and execute this out. I'll say rg1 comma rg2 comma rg3. Again doing the same thing. It's telling okay fine it's rg1 rg2 and rg3, but it did not iterate out here, right? It just did not iterate here. It just simply went ahead, put what's the name, that's it. It did not really iterate here. The reason being, see, whenever you are passing an array from a command line, PowerShell stores that array in the form of a comma separated value. You will have to tell PowerShell that, you know what, this is not a comma separated value. This is each and every individual value out here. Please forget the commas. Please don't use the commas out here. For which, what I can do here is this. If I do this, if I say dollar names and I want to, let's say, split the names over a comma. I want to say forget the comma, give me three names out here. Say dollar, or sorry, I'll say names, dollar names dot split. There is a function called split in PowerShell. Whose syntax is something like this. I'll say names dot split in single quotes. I want to give what do you want to split. In my case, I want to split it over a comma. So I'll say comma. Please go ahead, split it over a comma. If you have a slash, you can split it over a slash or something like that. Now if I execute this, it's giving rg1, rg2, rg3 in a single form. I mean, in let's say in an array format and not in let's say a comma separated value format. So what you need to do is whatever is being passed here, you need to split it firstly, and this split rate will give you three different names. I'll just store all these three different names in some other value or some other let's say variable out here. I'll say $temp, some temporary variable, is equal to $names dot split. Now I'll say for each $name in $temp. I'm now running my for each loop over this particular $temp here, wherein I'll say, I'll just simply do a write host again. Write host, I'll say name of the RG is $name. I'll just give it in a foreground color, like something like, blue or something like that. Let's execute this out. I'll say RG1, RG2, RG3. I'm able to get it. It's telling name of the RG is RG1, name of the RG is RG2, RG3. Is everyone okay with here? Till here, is everyone okay? Does anyone have any questions till here? Any challenges till here to understand this? Let's go one after the other. Is everyone okay till here? Mhm. Correct. That is something that you are passing. What if you want the user to pass array? You are passing it, that's fine. If you are passing it, yes, you would do a dollar open close parenthesis and it will take considered as an array. But here the user is passing it, isn't it? So that's the reason it's now telling, okay, fine, let the user pass. And then it's going ahead and giving a comma separated value. I'm separating it over a comma separated value. And I'm now doing for each. Yes, is everyone comfortable till here? Any questions till here before I move forward? So if I go forward, I now want to check whether the name exists or not. If it doesn't, I'll create. If it's not, I'll go ahead and let's say, or if it exists, I'll just go ahead and say, what, the name already exists. So which means all this script that I've written here, I'll just copy this. Everything that I written earlier, which is status and if and else and all that stuff, I'll copy this out. I'll go into this particular, let's say, PowerShell. I'll paste it here inside my for each loop, because for each loop is what which is checking the resource groups and etc. Let us just take this little bit in. Now let's see. I'll say status is equal to get hyphen AZ resource group. Instead of RG name, I'll put it as $name. Because $name is what, or is, let's say, the name of the resource group that is coming inside the for each loop. And now I'll say if status is equal to null, I'll say RG with the name $RG name doesn't exist. So I'll just go ahead and say name here. Since the location parameter is not there, I'll give a simple location like Central US or East US or something like this. Else I would say $name already exists on the portal. Let's save this. I'll say multiple RGs and let's execute this out. I'll say RG1, RG2, I'll say RG3. Now it's telling name of the RG is RG1. RG1 doesn't exist, creating one. It's now telling RG2 doesn't exist, creating one. RG3 doesn't exist, creating one. I will also have to check the negative scenario wherein the resource group is already there, and what if I pass it again? So let's see, let's do a CLS clear screen. Say RG1, RG2, RG3 already exists. Same script, but now I modified it a further bit so that instead of just taking one name at a time, will it take bulk names at a time? Yes, it will take bulk, but very importantly, please remember to use that split operation out here, because when you pass in, PowerShell will consider the entire thing as a string, as a comma separated value. So you won't be able to create it the way it is. That's the reason I'm just using a $temp here. It can be anything. It can be anything, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. I took a temporary variable called $temp. And I'm saying for each name in that particular temp, please go ahead and let's say do a write host. check. If it doesn't, please go ahead and create something out here as such. Yes, any questions still here? And I hope that answers the question out here. So now if I go back to the Azure portal, right, I'll end up having RG1, RG2, RG3 in my portal out here as such. Yes, anyone, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions with this script? Anything till here? Anything that I can take till here? Are we comfortable till here? Are we okay till here? Yes, no? You, again, this is unlike a theory. This is something that you have to practice out. Only then you will be able to understand what is the error that you're getting, what is the part that you're not able to follow out here. Yes, any questions, anyone?
Yes, Kiran, this is Shiva again.
Good, please.
In this, if the research group already exists, we are saying
Hmm.
the output as pass a new one.
Correct.
And after that, can we again ask the client to enter again a new one so that
You
we can run the code again until
you
the
can do
research
that.
group is created?
Yes, you can do that. You can do a do until loop out here, but high suggestion not to do that because you'll fall into an infinite loop out here. Because you'll have to, let's say, ask him to enter that again and again, again and again, and all that stuff. Uh, Instead of which, you can do something like, if directly you can put an if statement out here telling that if the name doesn't exist, then directly ask him to enter it back again. You can do that, but it's just a little, just it gets just a little tricky if you, let's say, do an infinite loop out there as such. But yes, it is possible to do. For that, you would need something like a do while loop or a do until loop or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, let's see, there's a question. How to remember all these step by step? The best part is that you shouldn't remember all this step by step. I would highly suggest not to remember this at all. The easiest way to do it is not to remember this at all. It is very simple by very pure practice. Logic is every time, guys. Whenever you look at a program or whenever you look at a script, it's always about a logic. And logic should never, never, never be, let's say, mucked up. It's just what do you want to create, write it down on a piece of paper, like the way I'm doing. I'm telling, okay, fine, this is what I want to create. This is what should be there. And then I'm converting all my idea into a script. That's what I'm doing. Never mug up this out. Yes, any more questions here? Okay, so I have a resource group right now called demo. In this resource group, I want to create a storage account. I want to go ahead create a storage account out here via a PowerShell script, not directly, but via the PowerShell script out here. So again, what do you think will be the command to create a new storage account? Okay, what do you think will be the command to create a new resource group? What is the command to create a new resource group? New hyphen AZ resource group. Then what will be for storage account? AZ storage account. Very simple. That's the same thing. It is new hyphen AZ storage account. And to create a storage account, what all do you think is necessary? Subscription. Okay, I already am logged into the subscription, so I already have a subscription. Anything else? Resource group. I need a resource group. B. Location. No, global name. Yes, global unique name. Yes, all these things is 3 to 24 characters and everything. So I'll just put in the name of the resource or the name of the storage account. C, can I say a location of the storage account also is required? And the location of the storage account can be different from the location of a resource group. Can be. Anything else? Redundancy, exactly. Redundancy, like
Uh,
LRS, GRS, and all these things. Hot and cold access tier, yes. Access tier like hot and cool and etc. And also there is something called as a storage account kind, which is not really required. But if I want to create something, just go to a new tab. I would say new hyphen AZ storage account. So I'm telling, okay, fine, please create a storage account for me. Hyphen. It's now telling pass in the resource group name. I will say it is demo. Pass in the name of the storage account itself. I'll say this is demo PSABC000, something like this, so that the name can be unique. Hyphen, it's asking me something called SKU name. SKU name. Now PowerShell behaves a little bit different than the portal. Here the SKU name is just asking you what is the redundancy. Is it a premium storage account, standard storage account? Do you want something like this? So just do a space. It'll give you all these things. Premium LRS, premium ZRS, or standard LRS, and etc. Say standard underscore LRS. In the portal, it's called redundancy. When you come with PowerShell, it's called as an SKU name. Hyphen asking the location. I'll pass in a location like East US 2. Hyphen kind is not really required. Access tier. Hot, hot. Let's go ahead, execute this out. Now what it's trying to do is that it's now going to go ahead and it's trying to create a particular or a particular storage account with those parameters that you have given, the name, the location, the kind, the SKU, and all that stuff. And it's going to try and create a particular storage account out here. So again, storage account creation will take some time. So that's the reason it will take some time out here. And once it's done, it will give you the output telling that, okay, fine, the storage account has been created. Again, this will take about a minute or so, depends upon the number of calls and all that stuff. No, sir, you're reading the above line. It's not the above line. It's this one. This is where I started. Now it's telling storage account with this under the resource group under the primary location got created. So let's also verify that. Let's go here into demo. Nothing as of now. Again, it will take some time to kind of get reflected. Again, my browser cache and all these things will come into play. Now I have a demo storage account with a couple of things like the location, the let's say the LRS and all that stuff. I passed this and I just created it around 747 just now using my PowerShell script out here. So as and when the PowerShell creates, it just goes ahead and returns all these values, telling that, okay, fine, the storage account is created for you. You can go ahead and check this out right now. So this is the command to go ahead and create. Again, where did I get this from? Just type in new hyphen AZ storage account on the Azure, on let's say Google. Just go here, and this is going to give you the syntax on what are all the accepted parameters and what is the example out here. New hyphen AZ storage account, resource group name, my account, location, SKU name. That's it. You just need these things out here. If you don't give the access tier, it will by default create the storage account in hot. If you give it, you can change it to hot or cool. You can do that. So the assignment for y'all that I want to give it for this particular class, I created a storage account, great. But I want to implement the same logic wherein I'm telling the client must be able to pass the name of the storage account, check whether it exists. If it doesn't create it, if it exists, just tell that, you know what, it's already there. Can you take this logic of a resource group and apply it to a storage account? If you follow the logic of a resource group, it should be simple for you to just go ahead and Mhm. You can do that. You can add, you can take the resource, them add a storage account. But what I need is that the client to pass the name of the storage account himself. So the client should pass some random storage account. You should check whether that particular storage account exists. If it's not, just tell him that, you know what, it's not existing on the portal. I'll create a new one for you. Same like what we are doing with the resource group. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take?
Sir, whenever I'm trying to log in, it's showing credential has expired.
Okay, sorry, can you come again, please? It's showing credentials as expired, is it?
Yes, yes, I'm set up credential, it's asking.
Okay, when is it coming when you're logging into the Azure portal?
Yes,
Okay, do you
I'm
get any
logged.
error while you're logging in? Any error message or something like that when you're logging into the portal?
Now it will give sign in option. After typing this email ID, then it's showing credential has expired.
Can you please send me a screenshot? I just want to see what is the error message and then I can, let's say, help you out with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, any more questions, guys? So the assignment today is this, is that try it out, see how you can go ahead and create a reusable script for a resource group like the one this is. At the end of it, can I add a couple of lines to go ahead and create a storage account? Because first you need to have a resource group, then you need to have a storage account out here. Can I also go ahead and create a storage account out here is what I want. So just look at this. Let me know if that is possible. All right. Yes, any questions before I close? Anyone, any questions? Okay, thank you guys and have a good day ahead. Please look at this. Let me know what are the issues that you're facing. Again, please do these assignments. Only then you'll be able to follow PowerShell. Because PowerShell is unlike a theory, you'll have to do a lot of practice. Please practice it out. Let me know what are the challenges and we'll address those. Thanks, guys, and have a good day ahead.